swear, some mornings you wake up thinking the world is functioning just fine. And then your HOA Karen appears acting like she uncovered a brand new crime-infested dimension. That morning I had barely consumed half a cup of coffee when she came, screeching into my driveway like she was auditioning for a low-budget detective series. Absolutely no one requested. And trust me, what she accused me of this time wasn't just dumb. It was so outrageously bizarre that even my garage walls looked offended. The moment I cracked open the door, she pointed at me with that shaky finger she probably sharpens every morning. She barked, "I know you're running an illegal business out of your home." Bro, I was still in pajamas. I didn't even know where my other sandal went. How was I running a criminal operation with pillow hair and morning breath? According to her, the evidence was undeniable. She insisted she saw multiple men entering my garage around 7 a.m., yet those multiple men were literally my friends helping me move a broken lawnmower. One had a donut. The other had a toolbox. If that's organized crime, then Dunkin' Donuts is a global syndicate. But Karen wasn't finished. Oh no, she yanked out a thick notebook. When I say thick, I mean she probably documents when squirrels cross property lines. She flipped through pages like she had uncovered national security secrets and declared, "I've been tracking your suspicious activities for weeks." Suspicious activities. Karen, my most suspicious activity is trying to keep weeds from staging a coup. Then she did the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. She stomped to the center of the street, dialed a number on speakerphone, and announced loud enough for the entire block to hear. "This is urgent. Send the inspector immediately. We have an illegal business operating." Imagine calling an inspector before 9 a.m. like she's coordinating a SWAT operation. I just stood there watching, her hair frizzing, sunglasses crooked, voice trembling from caffeine or fury, couldn't tell. And all I could think was if she put this much effort into her marriage, her husband wouldn't be hiding at the golf course 7 hours a day. But the real twist, the one that almost made me spill my coffee, happened when she proudly announced, "He's arriving early today." I told him this violation is serious. She crossed her arms like she had summoned some final boss to take me down. So now I'm waiting, leaning against my car. And Karen is pacing like she's rehearsing opening arguments for my sentencing. She kept muttering, "He'll shut this down. He'll shut everything down." Lady, what exactly is he shutting down? My lawnmower recovery center. 5 minutes later, a white SUV turns into the neighborhood. Karen squeals like someone handed her exclusive backstage passes to complain professionally. She yells, "He's here! You're finished!" The SUV stops, the door opens, and the inspector steps out gripping a clipboard and an oversized cup of coffee. Karen sprints toward him with the same energy people use at Black Friday sales. She starts yelling, "This is the illegal business. I told you he's violating 3 codes. The inspector looks at her, then looks at me, then squints like he's trying to decode the sheer absurdity radiating off her. In waves, and then with the most deadpan expression ever, he says, Karen, that's my supervisor." Her jaw practically shattered the driveway. Her spirit briefly detached, took a lap around the neighborhood, and returned carrying luggage. Because yes, I am his supervisor. I've worked with the city for years, and I literally trained this man last summer. Karen blinked like her internal router had lost signal. She stammered, You're what? Supervisor? Him? No. He's illegal." The inspector exhaled so loudly I felt my socks vibrate. Said Karen, "Please stop wasting our time again." Again? Which meant she had done this before? Definitely more than once. She made one last desperate attempt to revive her collapsing argument. She jabbed her finger at my garage like she found buried treasure. "Check the building. He has equipment." The inspector stared at my busted mower, the donut, the toolbox. Then he looked back at her and said, "Karen, that's a lawnmower," she whispered. "It could be modified." Modified into what? A spaceship? Shouldn't have said that out loud because Karen inhaled sharply like I had just confirmed NASA-level suspicion. The inspector dragged his hand down his face, then turned toward me and said, "Sir, you're fine. I'll mark this as another false report." Karen's expression twisted into a combination of rage, confusion, and constipation. She thrust her finger at me and shouted, "This isn't over." Then she stormed off, tripped over her own flip-flop, stood back up like nothing happened, and continued marching with the confidence of someone who absolutely did not just faceplant. As she stomped home, I looked at the inspector and asked, "Want the rest of that donut?" He shrugged, "Sure," and walked inside with me. Meanwhile, Karen was across the street, half hidden behind her bushes, spying on us with binoculars like we were planning a high-stakes diamond heist. And trust me, what she does next, you won't believe. By the third day, I had accepted a universal truth. Karen doesn't sleep. She doesn't eat. She exists solely to fuel chaos in my life. Apparently, she has a PhD in dramatic arts. That morning, I woke up to the unmistakable sound of her shouting through a bullhorn. Yes, a bullhorn. At 7:30 a.m. I swear every cat in the neighborhood tried to relocate. I cracked my blinds slowly, and there she was, standing in my driveway, waving her arms like she was conducting an orchestra of doom. The bullhorn amplified everything by a factor of 10. "This man is running an illegal business," she bellowed, her voice echoing off every house, garage, and bewildered squirrel within shouting distance. I squinted outside, trying to process the scene, and that's when I noticed it. A tiny parade of neighbors forming behind her, clutching coffee cups and judgmental expressions. One old man was filming like he was creating a documentary titled Karen, The Untold Saga. Karen pointed at my garage like she had uncovered the lost ark. "I have proof this time. Proof," she repeated. Curious, I stepped outside, pretending to be calm. "Oh, really? Let's see this proof, Karen. I'm on the edge of my seat." She dramatically tore open a folder, pages flying everywhere because, naturally, she didn't think to use a paperclip. Then she shoved at me a collection of diagrams. Photos, notes, apparently tracking the exact times I opened my fridge, the brand of cereal I ate, and even an artistic sketch of my dog wearing sunglasses. "Yes, my dog. In shades," Karen gasped. "This is a crime. He's exploiting animals for personal gain." I had to stop for a second. I mean, my dog looks cooler than I do, but criminal? Be serious. I patted him on the head and whispered, "You're good, buddy. They'll never take you alive." Then things escalated fast. The inspector showed up again.
Somehow this man has a sixth sense for Karen-induced chaos.
He stepped out, gripping his clipboard like a shield. Karen waved her folder wildly. "You must stop him this time. I have undeniable evidence." The inspector looked at me, then at the folder, and back at Karen. He breathed deeply, like the weight of the universe was settling on his shoulders, and then with perfect timing, he says, "Sir, you are literally my supervisor, and your dog is not a criminal mastermind." Karen's mouth opens like she's about to launch into a speech, but nothing comes out. Instead, she trips over her own shoelaces, smacks into a trash can, spins like a confused tornado, and somehow ends up sitting in a kiddie pool someone left out in their yard. The pool caves in beneath her, sending water flying in all directions. She sits there, dripping wet, megaphone upside down, muttering, "This isn't over." At this point, the neighbors are either laughing, recording, or debating moving to a different zip code. Jeff from next door leans over the fence, shaking his head. "She's next level insane," he says. I don't even have time to respond because Karen somehow pulls a walkie-talkie out of her pocket. "Dispatch, we need backup." I repeat, backup. He's still running the illegal business. Inspector glances at the walkie-talkie and deadpans. "Karen, that's a toy." Karen freezes. Then, in a moment of pure delusion, she waves the toy around like a wizard casting spells. "It's, advanced technology." I laughed so hard I nearly folded over. My dog barked in agreement, like he'd been waiting for someone to acknowledge the chaos. Then, out of absolutely nowhere, Karen shouts, "I'm calling the news." She actually does. She dials her phone and starts whispering dramatically as if she's exposing a national scandal. Yes, it's happening. Illegal business, cookies, dog, suburban nightmare. Meanwhile, I invite the inspector inside for coffee. My dog hops onto the couch, still wearing his sunglasses because honestly, he's the calmest creature in this mess. 20 minutes later, Karen is pacing outside, occasionally yelling into her phone, occasionally shooting me a glare fierce enough to melt aluminum. I peek through the blinds and spot a news van cruising past the neighborhood, probably regretting their career choices. I turn to the inspector and ask, "Think she ever stop?" He sips his coffee and shakes his head. "Not in this life. Maybe the next." And that's when it hit me. This was never about some illegal business. It was about control, chaos, and turning my life into a live-action sitcom nobody subscribed to. So I did the only logical thing left. I grabbed my phone, recorded Karen's legendary meltdown, added captions, and posted it. And the internet, they ate it up. Views skyrocketed. Comments exploded. People everywhere fell in love with my dog wearing sunglasses. And Karen? She had no idea she was now a viral icon. Later that evening, she marched up to my door, again soaked, enraged, waving papers like surrender flags of fury. I opened the door holding a plate of warm cookies. "Want one?" I asked. She froze, then gasped. These are illegal, right?" I grinned. "Absolutely. Totally legal. And if you want, we can bake a batch together next time." Her jaw dropped. That's when I realized victory isn't about defeating Karen. It's about surviving her with humor, cookies, and a dog clearly running the household. And as she stomped away, muttering about next time, my dog barked. I laughed, and I realized something glorious. Some people are impossible, and that's what makes life hilarious. If you liked this story, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Every subscription inspires me to bring you even more absurd and wild HOA stories. And don't forget to tap the bell icon so you never miss a new episode. I'll see you in the next adventure, where justice gets even more satisfying.